So my name is Eric Castor, and I'm Assistant Director of Admissions at CCS. And we have with us this evening Brandy Keeler. And Brandy is the Director of Student Engagement and Belonging. And we're going to kind of do a two-part presentation. I'm going to cover the first section and then stop my screen share. And then Brandy's going to share her information. And at the end, we're going to talk about transfer-specific information. So if you all would like to hold your questions for the end, you are certainly welcome to type your questions if you don't want to forget them into the chat box down below. Or you can, at the end, unmute yourselves and ask your questions audibly out loud. I did want to let everybody know that we are recording this session to make sure that we can share it out to you all afterwards, so you don't have to take notes. Everything will be available to you after the presentation. We'll send that out to you. And for anyone who wasn't able to join us, this will also be available on our YouTube channel. So with that, the topics that we're going to cover tonight are communication and our access manager. You know that as like the school portal. We're going to show some visual samples. Quite honestly, this is the second presentation we've done. The first one we did some time ago. And at that time, there were some folks who probably haven't accessed the information that we're going to share with you this evening. You most likely have. So there will be some things that may be a little bit of repetition, but hopefully we're going to cover some information that is new. I did also want to welcome any international students, and we'll talk a little bit about the Office of International Student Belonging. And we'll talk about class schedules and transfer credit, which is going to be most applicable to you all here this evening. And laptop requirements, oftentimes that's a question, so we'll address that. Tuition billing and financial aid. And then I'm going to turn things over to Brandy, and she's going to cover orientation and welcome week, connecting with your roommates and arriving on campus. Okay, so communication and portals. So when you received your CCS admit letter, you should have received your CCS ID login and password credentials. And I'm almost confident by now you have logged on to the Access Manager. It just looks like applications like you would find on your smartphone, applications like Canvas, and we're going to go over what some of these are. Most important, your CCS email account. It's very important that if you are not in the practice of checking your email daily, that you do that, because that is the way that we are going to communicate with you moving forward. When you had applied to the school, you had applied with your own unique email address. Things are going to stop probably showing up there, and more they're going to show up on your CCS email account. We'll talk a little bit more about Peacock Pride, campus offices, and how to find folks if you have questions. And we'll talk a little bit about self-serve and more. So again, this is what the Access Manager looks like. So for many of you, this may look familiar. We're going to go through some of these for you, but that's generally what you're going to be utilizing for most everything CCS moving forward. So again, like I said, your CCS email is very important. It's going to be the primary communication email used between students and staff, faculty, and campus offices. And also, you're going to receive a weekly student email that's going to have information about things that are happening on campus and off campus, and clubs and organizations, so that you are always informed. Peacock Pride, which is an app, there will be information about connections to students and events, student organizations, leadership, and involvement opportunities, as well as campus office information. So if you haven't looked at any of these apps, I would encourage you, when you get a chance, to take a look at some of them and explore around. So again, it's in here often enough that, you can see how important it is that you check your CCS Gmail or email account. So you do want to check that daily for anything that's going on, any requests being made from the Office of the Registrar. If you've not begun yet with the class scheduling process, I know academic advisors will be reaching out to students, and that's their main mode of communication. The Peacock portal, again, this is a way to connect to student organizations, events, and support services. And self-service, you probably have already been here. If you paid any of your deposits, you'll find your class schedule here. Your tuition bills will show up here. And I think those maybe, do they go out on July 1st and they're due August 1st? I think that's the deal. So if I'm wrong, you will be receiving them. So keep looking for that information to show up there. Any financial aid or parent proxy, if you want to share information with your parents, this is where you're going to provide permissions for them. And I've got something down at the bottom I can't read. Brandy, do you see what that is at the bottom?
I got you. One of the things that we have on campus is the audiovisual service center where students can check out equipment or rent studio spaces. And the way that you go about booking that equipment or those spaces is through the patron portal, which is also on the Access Manager.
Excellent. Thanks
Yeah.
for getting there. I moved my menu bar. That was a big help. So we have a global engagement office. I called it out incorrectly. It's not the international student belonging, but that is how we want you to feel. Our international student population, as well as our transfer student population, are often unseen entities. And I want you to know that there are support services there for you, and you are just as important a population at the institution as any other. So the Global Engagement Office includes things like information if you had any questions about your F1 or J1 student visa status. There'll be other information about study abroad and exchange programs. Our CCS Global Student Club information can be found there. And we also have a student international orientation program. So lots of good information. Just, be sure if you are an international student that you connect with those folks there. They can assist you with any questions that you have to make you feel at home here in the state. All right, self-service, again, we talked briefly about that. This is where you're going to review your financial aid award package. Now, again, I'm assuming that 99.9% of you have done this already, but if you haven't, obviously that's where you will find it. Review your tuition bill and due dates when that is available, so that information will be posted there. And again, establish a proxy access for your parent or guardian if you want information to be shared out with them. So campus offices and phone list, or I think that's what it's called, phone list, these are two places that work kind of hand in hand with one another. So if you are wanting to reach out to a particular office, or an academic advisor, or a counselor, or somebody in financial aid or housing, but you don't know who to contact, or you don't have their phone number because you want to call them directly, you can find that information on either the campus offices app or the phone list. So you might use those interchangeably, but look for them there. Canvas, this is where you will find your courses, your course schedule, your syllabi. Later, I'll talk to you about your syllabi will contain what art supplies that you need for your classes. And we do have an art supply store on campus. So if there's anything that you need to purchase for your classes, you'll be able to do that once you arrive. So it's nothing that you have to do immediately. And if art supplies are not on your syllabi, they will be available to you the first day of class. So don't panic about any of this stuff. You're not going to miss out on anything. And again, the materials list will be on that syllabi. Your assignments, communications from faculty, that will all be through Canvas. Handshake, you Some of you may not be using this immediately, but you should be aware of what it is and that it is available to you. This is a connection to career development for internship opportunities, job postings, and resume building. And by the way, I believe this is true. Once you are a CCS student, graduate, and alumni, you will have access to this for a lifetime. So this is a lifetime deal for you. IT help. If you need to reset your password for the CCS Access Manager, we gave you a password. So if you want to reset it and make it uniquely your own, you may. If you get locked out and you're having any difficulty, you can reach out to them there. If you have any CCS equipment and it's malfunctioning, or you're having difficulty getting onto the portal or your Gmail or anything like that, you can put in a ticket at the help desk. So that will assist you with any technical issues that you have that are IT related. Also important is at some point you will want to sign up for campus alerts. So very important, if we have any inclement weather or something's happening on campus, that we're able to reach out to you via phone, email, smoke signal, whatever, every form of communication possible to make sure that you receive that information. So again, class scheduling, it is very, very likely that many of you have already begun this process. So again, this might be a bit of repetition. But academic advising, you are pre-scheduled. Most of you already have a schedule either based on your transfer credit evaluation, which you have hopefully been working with Russell on, and he sends that over to your academic advisor and they pretty much prepare your schedule. But they will, if they haven't already, send you an email to meet with them to go over that schedule, to discuss any changes, any red flags. So just, again, look for your CCS email and look for any invitations if you've not received them yet. All right. So just so you are familiar, when you do receive your schedule, the forms of instructional modes and what some of those acronyms might look like. For on-campus learning, you'll find LEC on your schedule, and that's an in-person lecture. You may also find STU, and this means specifically studio classes. So your lecture classes are going to be, predominantly your academic courses. Studio classes will be actual physical brick and mortar studio classes where you're making things, so you're creating. Independent study or internships would be IND. Now, there may be some virtual coursework, less likely, but possible, in which case it's going to be indicated as either HYB for hybrid. So that's both blended in person and in studio or studio and online coursework. And again, you'll have these conversations if you have any questions with your academic advisor, and they can explain these probably a little bit more than I am. ONHY, so this would be an online hybrid. So students would synchronously through Zoom be taking classes online. And again, this information will be shared out to you by your academic advisor. So if you do have any additional questions, certainly reach out to them and they could explain all of this to you a little bit more in detail. Course schedule and credit placement. So again, registration appointments for incoming students will be made. Course schedules will be visible on WebAdvisor. And just check your email, and if they've not reached out to you, they will. Your transfer credit evaluation or your TCE, again, this is a document that had probably already been shared out to you by Russell Shoemaker, who you know is your academic advisor. If you have any transfer-specific questions, I did transfer for about 3 years, so I'm relatively familiar. I know the process has changed for the better. It's become a little bit more streamlined. But if you have any questions after this evening, do reach back out to Russell because he will be able to review your transfer credit evaluation form with you if you have any questions, either before or after you meet with your academic advisor. Brandy?
Eric, I want to jump in because I think you had an audible typo. You said Russell is the academic advisor. He's the
Oh, did I?
admissions advisor. So you all would have a separate academic advisor from Russell to help with class.
Yeah, sorry. I got
No problem.
thanks for checking in there. I have academic advisor on the brain. So Russell is your transfer credit advisor, which may make a little bit more sense when we're talking about the transfer credit evaluation. So you all have been working with Russell. I think it's very important. Don't know where you may be in the stage of completing requests that Russell had made of you. If you still owe him any additional work, make sure that you get that to him as quickly as you can now at this point, because oftentimes work is needed to establish an equivalency for a class, and he can't officially award credit. Get that to your academic advisor so they can effectively give you an exemption for a particular course. So we want to make sure that's all done before they begin working with your class schedule. That's probably one of the tips that we're going to talk about later. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. So all credit is placed officially by the registrar. And what we mean by that is all of your work with Russell should be done. We may be waiting on final transcripts with final grades, official transcripts. So if you looked at your transfer credit evaluation form and there was a 3 credit in red, that means it wasn't assigned, quite possibly because you hadn't submitted an official transcript that was needed, or we were waiting on final grades, or we needed additional work. So you want to look at that document. Again, if you have any questions and you've forgotten after we discussed it tonight, Russell will be happy to go over that form with you and make sure that we get from you what we need. But if you got a solid black 3, that means you were officially awarded credit. If there was nothing in red at the top that indicated we were missing a college transcript or something like that, it'll be in the top column of your TCE form in red. If it's black, and that means it's all good to go, been sent to your academic advisor. If any of you already have your schedules, probably are on the finished side of the transfer credit evaluation process. Schedule changes, again, these will be requested through your academic advisor. So once you are enrolled, they're the ones who are going to be working with you predominantly on preparing your schedule, making any schedule changes. So again, this presentation is well after July 1. It's very important if you haven't already and your classes have been completed. Some classes run through late summer. So if you're currently enrolled in a class, just make sure as soon as you complete that class that you get a final and official transcript. Official meaning that it comes directly from the school that you'd attended. And you can send those transcripts still to the admissions office, and we will make sure that Russell, if he needs to amend or update your transfer credit evaluation, he will do that. But we will also forward any transcripts with just maybe final grades on them to your academic advisor so they can make any changes to your schedule that they need to. And it does take a couple weeks, so just be aware that when you have transcripts sent, they don't immediately the next day show up in your student account. It takes a day or two for them, even once we've received them in the mail, to upload them to your student record. But you're welcome to check with us, and we can always check to let you know if we'd received them, but give them a little bit of time. So laptop requirements. Honestly, don't panic about this. A laptop is not required for any major other than our communication design and strategy program. So before purchasing a laptop, we recommend contacting your department program manager to confirm your choice. And this is especially if you are enrolled in a program other than communication design and strategy. But the laptop requirements can also be found on our website. I think under Life at CCS, you can click on that and it will say laptop requirements. So you'll just kind of drag your cursor down, select it, and it will tell you what we are looking for in terms of specs for the laptops for communication design and strategy. Again, any other laptop, check with the program manager, which by the way are listed where? On the office contact sheet. So either the campus contacts or the phone list. So they're just, the program manager is the person responsible for getting messages to your department chair and then sharing out any information about the program that you have and also cover these laptop requirements. Again, reiterating, there are no laptop requirements for any major other than communication design and strategy. Access to labs. There will be evening and weekend hours where labs are available to you. These would be our Cintiq labs, computer labs, fab labs, or fabrication labs. So just know that you will be able to work evening and weekends. I'm not sure exactly what the lab hours are. They will be posted and you will become familiar with them and when you can use them, but you will have ready access to those labs. And that's why we don't require a laptop for most of our other majors, because not only do you have class time available to you work in the labs, you will have after class time hours available to you to work in the labs as well. And again, I think it's good enough to talk a little bit about our AVS, our audiovisual services. And they include things like the checkout, but something you probably weren't aware is we have a wonderful prop and costume rental checkout, which is very unique, I think, to our school, but also, again, the video and photo production and studio management, photo equipment, on location lighting equipment, all kinds of stuff. So you become familiar with what there is available to you to check out. I believe, you can check out GoPro cams and items to document projects with. So a lot of fun stuff. So you'll have access to things in the classroom, but you'll have access to things that you can use outside of the classroom as well through the ABC. And art supplies. Again, we covered this earlier. The details for supplies will be provided on your class syllabus. And again, that can be found on Canvas. Departments, majors, or courses not shown will have a supply list available on the first day of class. But if you have any questions, again, that's what that program manager is for. So you don't need to necessarily reach out directly to department chair, but you can find them in the campus guide or the phone list. And this is where I'm going to stop my share and hand it over to Brandy.
And while folks are adding those questions to the chat, let's say hello. And thanks for being here with us this evening. So I'm going to jump into a little bit of information about orientation. I want to start by saying that orientation is important for all students, including transfer students. I know sometimes folks who already have the college experience under their belt can think, I know about college, I don't need orientation. But orientation at CCS is a unique experience that's really designed to help all of our students feel confident about their journey here at CCS. So it's more than just what college is. It's really to help you feel grounded as a CCS student before classes begin. So we help folks understand how to navigate campus. I know we're a small college campus, but some of these buildings can be complex to navigate. We make sure you understand your academic expectations. We connect you to the alumni relations early on, so you start your connections early. There are a lot of things that happen at orientation that are really important for students. And there are two parts to orientation. Both are required for all incoming students. The first is our online pre-orientation that will launch and go live August 1st. You'll get an email from admissions about that. And this is an interactive document that takes anywhere from 2 to 4 hours for you to complete. And you'll have modules where you can move at your own pace, right? Learn some critical information that's good to know before you step foot on campus. And that must be finished before you arrive on campus for in-person orientation, okay? So that makes sure, you have what you need to start orientation. And then once you're here, in person orientation starts Monday, August 25th. And that'll be your chance to meet other new students. You'll actually connect with your department, so you'll get to meet some of your faculty and department chair, have some in-depth conversation. You'll meet other student leaders, you'll get to explore campus and get into the rhythm of life at CCS, okay? So you'll get, again, details and links for all of this to your CCS email. All of you probably got an email on July 15th letting you know it's coming. So keep your eye out on your email and keep checking that regularly. After orientation, at the end of the day, we also have a really cool opportunity called the Meet and Eat Resource Fair. So orientation is, check-in starts at 8:30, the day starts at 9, and then we're wrapped up around 4:30 with orientation. But those of you who are wise, you will stick around for our Meet and Eat Resource Fair at 4:30 that day, or excuse me, at 5 p.m. that day, where not only all of our student offices will be available, or our campus offices will be available, but also our student orgs and clubs, so you can start to get a feel for where you can plug into campus culture as well. So we consider that day of orientation the first day of Welcome Week. And Welcome Week is how students start to build community before classes begin. That's how you get comfortable on campus and you start making friendships, right? And so there's a mix of fun events, casual events, opportunities to explore both CCS as well as Detroit. We do get off campus and have some field trips. So these are great for folks, whether you're commuting, whether you're living on campus. Again, transfer students, we want you here at these events. We have some really fun things like our CCS After Dark. That's one of our most popular events. It's like a rave glow party. We have outdoor movies. We go to Eastern Market. We go to the Detroit Jazz Festival. Lots of fun opportunities. And then, yeah, I already mentioned we'll have the Meet and Eat Resource Fair that same day as orientation. And then campus tours will be happening throughout the week of Welcome Week. And you will sign up for your tour spot during pre-orientation. So make sure you sign up for a tour. If you don't sign up for it in pre-orientation, we assume you don't want to check out campus, but that would be foolish. Also, our tours are guided by students who are thriving on campus. So the tours aren't just here's where all the stuff is, it's also pro tips from successful students. Here are some resources you need to keep in mind. So highly recommend checking those out. All right, and then we also, for any parents or guardians who are here tonight, we know this is a transition for you too, right? Just because the student's been to college once doesn't mean they've been to CCS. And so we want to make sure we're hosting a dedicated orientation for you to help you feel informed and supported as your student transitions to CCS. So this session will be held live on Zoom. It'll be Sunday, August 17th at 7 p.m. And it'll be led by our Assistant Vice President of Campus Life, Dan Long. He'll walk you through what to expect during the academic year, who to contact when you have questions or concerns, how to set up accommodations, and how to best support your student as they journey to CCS. If you're not able to attend live, similar to today's webinar, that will be recorded and available afterwards. And then to make sure that you get the invite, parents, we need your student to share your contact information with their admissions counselor by August 1st. Okay, so that includes your full name, your email, and your phone number. That is the way that we make sure you get that information. And we do encourage all families to either attend or watch the webinar so that you can feel connected to what's ahead for your student. For those of you who are planning to stay on campus, I want to walk through a few key things that are important to know. Few key things. Move-in day is the day before orientation, so August 24th, and students will sign up for a specific move-in time slot by appointment. So you'll go through that and do that within the housing platform. And if you're an international student, your move-in is actually one day earlier. It'll be Saturday, August 23rd, okay? Um, Also, one thing to note for international students, you also have, in addition to orientation, international student check-in. So you have your own dedicated day in addition to orientation. You still attend orientation, but after orientation, you'll also have a check-in day with international specific information. But back to housing. We recommend checking out the full what to bring and what not to bring list on our website under housing. So you're not packing anything that's prohibited. I can't tell you how many toasters are stored in the CCS housing office because people keep bringing toasters. Don't bring a toaster. And there's a whole list of things not to bring and a whole list of things that are helpful to bring. So make sure you check that out. That's under the Life at CCS tab on our website. And if you're a student that will be living with roommates, it's a good idea to connect before move-in. So our roommate contact information will be available once you've paid your deposit for housing, and you've selected your bed, you filled out everything, then you will be able to see your roommate's information on the StarRes app. Also know that within StarRes, all of the information you need is in one place. So you're paying right in there, you're choosing your bed in there, you can see the floor plan and where your bed will be. So it's all there for you if you haven't already done that. But first come, first serve. So make sure you sign up for housing if you are still looking to live on campus. One thing to know is while the COVID-19 vaccine isn't required, we do highly recommend it for students living in our residence halls, simply to help protect our community, make sure everyone, is healthy, and we're reducing the risk of disruptions to the semester. So I'll paste in the chat the list for some of our housing lists for your convenience. And then there's oftentimes a lot of different questions related to housing. I'm going to paste our housing FAQ in the chat as well. Okay. Let's talk about student IDs. So the student ID process is baked into your pre-orientation. So when you get that email August 1st to start pre-orientation, you'll begin registering for your ID badge because our campus is very secure. You can't get into any campus buildings without an ID badge. For those of you who are planning to live on campus, you will want to fill out the badge form in pre-orientation by August 11th. Everyone else, you have up until August 22nd to finish pre-orientation and the forms. So the form will just ask for a headshot. It'll be your ID picture for the rest of your time at CCS, so choose wisely, okay? And then you'll get that ID badge either when you come for move-in if you're living on campus or the day of orientation if you're a commuter. And yeah, like I said, we're very secure. You cannot get onto the campus shuttles without an ID. You can't enter your house if you live on campus without an ID. And you can't get to class without an ID. You can't even get on the elevators in the Topman building without an ID. So it's a very, very important piece of CCS equipment. It's coveted. You'll get a cool lanyard at orientation to make sure you never lose it. For those who don't know, parking at CCS is free. You can access the parking garages with, you guessed it, your CCS ID. All you need to do is register your car or bike with our campus safety office, and then you're free to park as you need. Also, it's really important to know that at CCS, we want every student to be able to fully participate in the CCS experience. So that means if you're a student who has disability or condition that impacts your learning style or your housing experience or your day-to-day experience, there are resources and supports available here at CCS. So to begin the process to talk about accommodations you may need, students need to self-disclose. Even if something is visibly obvious, we will not automatically grant any accommodations to students. So you have to come and set up a conversation with our dean, Dan Long, to talk about accommodations. That's what starts the process. We also have a helpful guide to accommodations at CCS video that walks through that process. And I'll find it after we move into the Q&A and put that in the chat. But that's to help if you're unsure of whether or not you qualify for accommodations or not, and how to start the process. That video is a great walkthrough for you. For students who are requesting accommodations, you will need to provide documentation of your disability, whether it's learning related, mental health related, physical access, or any other area of accommodation. And that's because we actually tailor our accommodations to what a student has going on. You can also scan this QR code on the page for more detailed information, including the types of accommodations we offer and how to reach out. The key takeaway here is do not wait. The sooner we can start this conversation with you, the smoother your transition to CCS will be. That means you can start it today, tomorrow, right? I'm emailing Dan Long, and his email is just dlong@ccsdetroit.edu. So yeah, we want to make sure CCS is a space where you all can thrive. Next is a really cool resource we have on campus, which is the Center for Tutoring and Writing. And this helps any student, again, transfer students, we're talking to you. Anybody can struggle to keep up, right? Art school is vigorous. And so if you need help trying to stay ahead, if you need help trying to figure out how to better manage your time, or you just want a second set of eyes on some of the work you're doing, the Center for Tutoring and Writing can help with that. So they do things like mapping out your daily or weekly schedule. They can help break down homework or big projects into manageable phases. They can help you figure out how to plan time for rest and joy, not just work, right? The transition to art school for anybody who's transferring from a traditional college or a liberal arts college to an art college, it is an adjustment. There are a lot of moving parts to figure out how to balance, a lecture class and studio classes. And so it's normal to feel overwhelmed or unsure of how to juggle everything. And that's why we encourage students to reach out before it gets overwhelming and crazy, and ask for help, because that's actually a strength. Strong, healthy people ask for what they need. And so our directors in the Center for Tutoring and Writing, they help you build sustainable and positive habits, right, for CCS and beyond. Okay. And then also, we want to make sure, I think you may already have a grasp for this being transfer students, but these types of habits, they help make space for things like fitness and meditation practice, right? Eating meals. You'd be surprised how many non-transfer students don't eat when they come to CCS. They're just workaholics. And so we want to make sure you have holistic support here at CCS, because one of our models is that you're a human first and a student second. So we want to make sure you're managing your well-being. And something we have to help you do that. Is our wellness office. So we have a wellness and counseling office. They do things like health and wellness education events. They do in-person counseling or virtual counseling sessions. We have a platform called You Will, where students can sign up for counseling that's part of your tuition. We also have Smokey, our campus therapy dog, who comes weekly and brings all the good cuddles you need to get recharged for the week. And then we do partner with Wayne State to provide a health center access and nurse for those who just need help with small things like small infection or cuts or things like that. We do also make student health insurance possible for those of you who aren't on your parents' insurance, and you're like, I need health insurance. We can help you get health insurance through the school. And then we are within 1 mile of hospitals, 2 hospitals here in Midtown Detroit. And so we can provide support as you're navigating any health emergencies or crises, okay? All right, so next, we are going to talk about some tips specific to you as transfer students. And some of these, you may look at them and you're like, how is this specific to me? This is general for everyone. But we're saying this specifically to you because of what we notice about transfer students. And the first thing is that sometimes transfer students think it's enough to just show up, go to class, and go home. And that's actually a disservice to you as a student. Right? Eric's saying, no, don't do that. Right. It's a disservice to you as a student. Your tuition dollars aren't just paying for your class, they're paying for all the resources on campus, all the field trips, all the speaker series, all the books in the library that you can rent out for free, or movies, right? Or comic books or manga, right? There's a lot of resources here on this campus, a lot of amazing people here on this campus. And you are doing yourself a disservice if you only come to campus for class. Pro tip number one is get outside of your class and have a full campus experience here at CCS, regardless of if you commute or live on campus. The second is getting involved in campus activities and groups. At CCS, we design our programming with empowerment in mind. So yes, we have things that are fun and quirky, like the horror movie club, but we also have leadership development. We have CCS leads, which is our leadership cohort. We have a lot of amazing work study opportunities where you can actually get paid to be involved in campus life. Um, I can't tell you how many people I know, because I'm a CCS alum myself, as well as so many of my peers who say the biggest advantage of coming to CCS is the network that they've grown. Um, and getting outside and going to campus activities and groups makes your network broader, right? You're connecting with people outside of your major. So definitely come to the activities, join a campus group. We have groups that are for major specific and for leisure. So make sure to check those out.
Can I add to that real quick, Brandy?
Yes.
So
Yes.
speaking from personal experience, I wouldn't share my work in the classroom. As soon as class was over, went home because I did commute. Um, it's so important that, like Brandy said, you network because you're going to network as a professional. If you've already made contacts in college with classmates that you know, once they're in the workforce, oftentimes they're going to go, "Oh yeah, I remember when we did this together." And sometimes that's a foot in the door. So it's important not just while you're at CCS, but it also may help you when you graduate and you're connecting with fellow classmates who are also alumni.
Can attest to that. In my in my first job, 4 days after CCS, because they didn't give me a break, I was working at an ad agency. You would think ad agency, communications and strategy major, but there was illustration, there's graphic design, there were students from different disciplines, and we had a good working relationship because we were colleagues and friends on campus, right? It does translate to the real world. Um, Also, we have opportunities for you to make a difference on campus too. We have our student government. And that's something that happens weekly where students can come. So if you have challenges or needs or things you've seen from your previous college experience that you would like to see here at CCS or an org you want to bring to, our resident, excuse me, not resident, our registered student organizations, you as transfer students have a really unique lens in that you've been to another college before and you have experiences there, some positive, some maybe not, I don't know, but you can bring your insights to our campus culture and help shape it. The third thing, and you've heard Eric mention this a lot of times, is to make sure you make time to read CCS communications. You hear us say this a lot because you'd be surprised how many students say, "Oh, I didn't see that email." And it's like, scholarship and no one applies or free food and no one shows up, or this famous speaker is coming to campus. Make sure you are building in your weekly schedule daily time to check your CCS email and also check out the Peacock Pride portal. Make sure you're getting on there, seeing what's going on this week and making time for some of those things. Do it early. We're going to force you to do some of it at orientation. But that way you're not trying to backfill a full campus experience. You're doing it proactively.
By the
Eric, you were
way,
going to say something?
yeah, another pro tip that I do working is I create folders in my Gmail account, and you might have folders for Peacock Pride, you might have folders for your department, faculty, whatever. And if you can't read something, just so it doesn't get lost, maybe organize them and separate them in folders. But don't forget to go back and look at those emails. If you can't get to them right away, don't be overwhelmed by the screen. Put them in a folder. Just remember that they're there and don't let too much time lapse before you go back and you look through the information because you don't want to miss out because you missed the deadline.
For
Um,
sure.
but it is a way that alleviates stress for me because I just don't like a full inbox. So if that helps anybody, there you go. There's a pro tip for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow that with one. I use the snooze feature in Google, and you can snooze it for another day for the email to show back up in your inbox. So I'm like, that says something about November. I'm gonna snooze that to October, make sure to come back. So great tip, Eric. That's an amazing tip. All right, two more pro tips for you transfer folks. Make FaceTime with your academic advisor. We know that your schedule is done, sort of separately from you, but make time to go and actually sit and talk to your academic advisors. They support you in completing your degree plan, right? And so them having relationship with you, understanding your academic goals will allow them to best support you as they're building out your class schedule for the duration of your time. And if you plan to take any future courses with the intent of transferring them anywhere else, if you want to go and get a master's degree or something like that, it's really a good idea to talk to your academic advisor. They want to make sure certain that you have all the documentation, everything you need in place as you're going through your process. Um, and they want to have a relationship with you, you know. They look at screens all day, but they're humans. They want to talk to you and know your goals. And so definitely make some face time with your academic advisors. And the same is true for faculty and program managers, connecting with them early. Your very first opportunity to connect with them will actually be, well, maybe not your first. Some of you may have already connected with them, but we're going to make sure you connect with them at orientation. So again, very important to come to orientation. Um, They'll be doing a deep dive into your major for our orientation day. And so, yeah, connect with your program managers. They have information about things beyond your major as well. They connect students to internships, to scholarships, to work study opportunities. Oftentimes, when folks from outside of that department need a student for something, we're like, hey, program manager, do you know someone who wants to do this thing? And so definitely connect with them and your faculty early. Eric, you're going to share something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that your faculty, you're going to have a faculty mentor. So everyone is assigned a mentor. So they're actually going to be proactive and reach out with you. But if you're struggling with a class, don't wait until you're underwater to talk to one of your faculty members in the class or your department chair. They can be terrific listeners and they can give you additional assistance if you need it. So make sure that you connect with them and kind of looking ahead and asking them questions about, intern opportunities or any other thing that you're interested in. They have a wealth of knowledge. You're not the first one to go through their program, and they'd be happy to work with you and share. So do stay connected to them.
Definitely. And the wonderful thing, and I'm sure you've heard this in admissions over and over, so many of our faculty members are working professionals. So they're not just faculty, they're also in the industry, right? So that's again building that network. Um, so those are our top 5 tips for transfer students. I'm going to reemphasize, get out of class, spend time on campus, utilize all the resources here, right? Our exercise rooms, our labs, co-working spaces, counseling, all of it, career, office of partnerships, get some career coaching. That's number one. Number two, get involved in campus activities and groups, join a registered student organization, go to the Century Ball. Who gets to go to prom as an adult? We do. Go, right? Budget time to read important CCS communications, meet face to face with your academic advisor, and connect with your faculty often and your program manager often and early. All right. And with that, I'm going to open it up for questions. It can be about anything that we've talked about today or anything we didn't talk about today. You can put it in the chat or you can come off of mute and ask us with your voice, but we are here to answer your questions and make sure this is a smooth transition for you.
Feel free to unmute and ask audibly if you'd like. You're welcome to type it into the chat. I see one there in the chat now.
So I see the first question. Are there study areas in the Topman Center flat desk for sketching? Yes. In our labs, we do have some drafting tables. And then also on our 6th floor hub, we have drafting tables and workstations for students to plug in who want to work. Oh, in the dorms, we do have study spaces on some of the floors. They're not on every floor. So each floor on the top end has a different amenity. One floor has like a lounge and a movie room. One floor has the workout facilities. We do have a room that has a study space. So we call those our quiet rooms. And they have some drafting tables and some desks.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know if in the dorms there's a floor that has a spray booth, something ventilated, or maybe in a studio classroom that would be available to you after hours. But yeah, all that stuff exists. And thanks, Brandy, because I don't recall hearing it before, but we do have galleries on campus. We do have the fitness centers. So there's plenty for you in terms of those resources.
A question. Are there solo study rooms for painting or just solo or to do solo studio art assignments? So depending on, let's talk about specifically painting. If you're in a major like illustration or studio art and craft, depending on your grade level, there are junior and senior private studio spaces. So I don't know what major you're in, Angeline, but if you have one of those majors, there are some private studio spaces. Outside that, we do have solo study rooms, not for painting, in our student library on the Ford campus in the Manugian, or the Manugian Visual Resource Center. And those are places with a door that is closed where you can do private. We have their first come, first serve, or you can reserve them ahead of time. We also have large conference spaces too. So if you want to do like a meeting or something like that, we have spaces, again, first come, first serve, or you can reserve those. Um, so yes, hopefully that answers your question about spaces. So everyone has studio space on campus, but as far as private studio space where you can make it your own, and no one will touch it, typically that's reserved for upperclassmen, some of those majors.
Who would I contact if my schedule doesn't appear on Canvas? Have you received an invitation from your academic advisor via email? And if the answer is no, you haven't, then I would reach out to your academic advisor. They are on our website if you are not familiar with who they are. And it's broken down by department, by your major. So you would go to, again, Life at CCS up at the top, and then the drop-down menu, look for Office of the Registrar, I think, or Academic Advising.
Yeah, and I just pasted in the chat the link for the academic advising page, and it has their contact information.
You got nimble fingers. I don't grab things as quickly as you can.
If we're using our own electronic devices from another country and the US voltage is different, there are plug adapters that students can get that will change the plug that you have to a plug that's adaptable for US voltage. I don't know if we sell those in the bookstore or not. But I know they're easy to find on Amazon, things like that. You would just need a converter.
And the thing is, you may be anxious now. The questions that you have, or the questions that you don't have tonight that come to you tomorrow or in the middle of the night tonight, a lot of those answers are coming. They're coming during orientation, certainly. And there will be resources once you're on campus, folks that you can ask those questions of. You don't have to know everything coming into your first day of classes. Things will kind of fall into place. But the whole point of this transition presentation is to kind of make you familiar with where to ask the questions, where to go, what to look for, and hopefully a little bit of what to expect. So if we did that for you this evening, then I think we did our job. I know the first half, what I delivered, a lot of that you probably already, most of you have been through. So I'm out of the country for orientation. Okay, so will it be recorded? Is there a way that you could catch up if missed?
So, Angeline, orientation is an interactive experience. It's not just going to be a bunch of presentations. Folks will be getting up and doing a bunch of things. There'll be icebreakers. So while orientation itself won't be recorded, some of the content for presentations that happen at orientation will be available afterwards. But there are certain moments that we won't be able to share, like some of the icebreakers, the department sessions aren't recorded. But the high level things will be available afterwards. But it's a option, right? It's an option. But yeah.
But there will be folks that will kind of handhold you and get you to where you need to be. So you're not going to come like a lost lamb. We're going to make sure that
Correct.
you get acclimated and you feel comfortable. So don't be
And
too terribly anxious.
yeah, and Angeline, I don't know how long you will be out of the country, but if you will be back during any point of that week, I would highly encourage you. Oh, you get back the day of. Okay. definitely encourage you to come to the Meet and Eat Resource Fair that evening if you're back in time and you have the energy. If not, during Welcome Week, excuse me, right after Welcome Week in September, I would encourage you to come to Peacock Palooza, um, which is similar to Welcome Week, but it's with all the students, not just with new students. That has some amazing resources available. Um, and yeah, well, like Eric said, there are folks who will help guide you for sure. But we will have some recorded content after orientation for students who have to miss.
Right.
Being out of the country is a good reason to miss orientation.
Yeah.
Being tired is not a good reason. For most folks, we do want you there.
Yeah. Do make it. It's important if you can. All right, we are just about at that time. We can take one quick last question if you have it. If you don't, we'll kind of wrap things up and give you a minute back. Uh, Anybody else? One last call. Questions? Anybody? And if there aren't, that's okay too. That means that we kind of did our job, Brandy. Yeah. And again, you have ways for reaching out. Don't forget your CCS Access Manager to reach out to folks that you have questions for. You know, Brandy and I, we know a little bit about everything. We know about our particular departments, but we're certainly not the authority on everything. So it is important that you find the right folks to ask your questions of. All righty. Well, if there are no other questions, I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. I hope it was informative. And if there is anything that we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we are looking forward to having you all on campus for what I know is going to be a very successful experience for you. Brandy, anything to add?
Just thank you. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to be intentional about your future journey here at CCS. We really appreciate it. It's a good sign for your pending success here on campus. So thanks, everybody. And thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Brandy. All right, everybody. Peace out. Have a good night. Take care.
Bye, all.